Hello and welcome to my review of The Toilers of the Sea by Victor Hugo, which I read along with Matthew of Mayberry Bookclub, who also recommended this novel to me. I will leave a link to his video in the show notes below. The Toilers of the Sea begins with a 50-page essay called The Archipelago of the Channel, which Graham Robb, who wrote the introduction, calls the best general guide to the Channel Islands. Although they are situated close to France, the Channel Islands belong to the UK. Here is a map showing their location. When the novel was first published in March 1866, the introductory essay was omitted and was not published until the 1883 edition. So I suppose it is not strictly necessary to the plot of the story, but as a background to the locale of the action, it is an excellently written and informative essay, which I thoroughly and surprisingly enjoyed. The story is of Gilliatt, a fisherman from the Channel Islands, who must salvage the engine of a ship that has run aground in order to win the hand of the woman he loves, a shipowner's daughter. In this superb novel, written in elegant prose, there is epic drama and satiric wit, set on the island of Guernsey in the Channel Islands in the mid-1800s. The battle between man and nature is also a spiritual allegory. In part 1, I was surprised and pleased by the amount of witty comments that Hugo employed. Here is a quote from page 62. The oldest inhabitants of the region say, but facts of this kind belong to the past, that the Catholic population of the Norman archipelago was formerly, in spite of itself, more closely in communication with the devil than the Huguenot population. Why? We do not know. What is certain is that this minority was formerly much troubled by the devil. He had taken a liking to the Catholics and sought to associate with them, which might suggest that the devil was more Catholic than Protestant. Here's a quote from page 64 and page 65. There was a story among local people that toward the end of the French Revolution, a woman with a small child had come to live on Guernsey. She was English, unless perhaps she was French. She did not go to any church, which led people to conclude, all things considered, that she must be French. Here's a quote also from page 64. This wretched dwelling, along with its resident demon, was for sale for a few pounds sterling. The woman bought it, evidently tempted by the devil, or by the low price. Here's a quote from page 72. In villages, the inhabitants observe all the little details of a man's behaviour, then they add them up and the total makes a reputation. In light of all the ironic observations that Hugo makes about the erroneous conclusions that the villagers come to in respect of Gilliatt, this is itself ironic. Here's a quote from page 75, which is an example of Hugo's ironic comment on the villagers' erroneous view of Gilliatt. He obstinately refused to perform any miracles, which is a ridiculous attitude for a warlock to take. You are not obliged to be one, but if you are, you should carry out the duties of the position. I like the following quote from page 87 due to the surprising contrast that Hugo makes at the end. Sometimes he spent the whole day in this way, in danger amid the waves and the hail and the wind, coming alongside boats in distress, saving their crew, saving their cargo, challenging the storm. Then in the evening he would go home and knit a pair of stockings. I also love some of Hugo's metaphorical descriptions. Here is one from page 94. Some girl we know, for example, if we were to see her as she really is, would appear in the form of a bird. A bird in the form of a girl? What could be more exquisite? Just imagine that you've one in your own home. Take, for example, Durochette. What a charming creature! One would be tempted to say to her, "Good morning, Mademoiselle Wagtail." You do not see her wings, but you hear her twittering. In part 2, Hugo describes in amazing and compelling detail the dangerous salvage operation that Gilliatt undertakes. That I understood very little of the intricate and esoteric descriptions with which Hugo tells the story did not detract from the powerful cumulative effect of the superhuman and heroic actions of Gilliatt. Here's a description from page 291 of what Gilliatt was experiencing as he battled the elements to salvage the engine from the wrecked ship. Gilliatt was surrounded by an immense cloud of hostility. He suffered burns and shivered with cold. The fire bit into his flesh. The water froze him. Thirst threw him into a fever. The wind tore at his clothes. Hunger gnawed at his stomach. He was oppressed by an exhausting combination of forces arranged against him. A vast, silent complex of obstacles with all the irresponsibility of fate, but with a kind of terrible unanimity, was converging on Gilliatt from all sides. He felt it bearing inexorably down on him. There was no way of escaping it. It was almost like a personal enemy. Gilliatt was conscious of a mysterious force rejecting him, a hatred seeking to diminish him. He could escape by flight, but since he had resolved to remain, he must face up to this impenetrable hostility. Since these forces were unable to expel him, they were seeking to defeat him. Who were they? The unknown. He was in the grip of the unknown, which pressed down on him, hemmed him in, took his breath away. He was being crushed by the invisible. Each day the mysterious screw was given another turn. And here's a quote from page 292. Everything was against him. Nothing was for him. He was isolated, abandoned, enfeebled, broken down, forgotten. His stores were gone, his tools broken and defective. He suffered thirst and hunger by day and cold by night, covered with rags, his clothes threadbare, rags over festering sores, holes in his clothing and in his flesh, his hands torn, his feet bloody, his limbs emaciated, his face pallid, but there was a flame in his eyes, a proud flame. A man's will made visible. A man's eye reveals his quality. It shows how much of a man there is within us. We declare ourselves by the light that gleams under our eyebrows. Petty spirits merely wink. Great spirits emit a flash of lightning. If there is no brilliance under the eyelid, there is not thought in the brain, no love in the heart. A man who loves exerts his will, and a man who exerts his will radiates light and brilliance. Resolution puts fire in the glance, a noble fire that results from the combustion of timid thoughts. Sublime characters are stubborn. A man who is merely brave has only one method of action. A man who is merely valiant has only one temperament. A man who is merely courageous has only one virtue. Greatness is reserved for the man who is stubborn in pursuing the right course. Almost the whole secret of men of great heart is contained in one word: perseverando. When Gilliatt succeeds, almost beyond expectation, in transferring the engine to his boat, all seems lost when a gigantic tempest arrives and threatens to destroy the boat and him. Hugo's breathtaking descriptions of the tempest are told in masterly and compelling prose. Gilliatt only survives the raging storm through his will, determination, and intelligent actions. Then, just when all seems set for him to return to Guernsey with his prize, he is attacked by a devilfish, an octopus. Hugo's thrilling description of this encounter is both horrific and mesmerizing. Hugo shows that the octopus is the most dangerous creature in the sea. Once grasped by its tentacles, it is impossible to free oneself. Hundreds of suctions embed themselves in the flesh, and struggling only tightens and strengthens their grasp. Hugo's description of the octopus is compellingly told, and how Gilliatt defeats the octopus brings some much needed relief from the fraught action. Surely now Gilliatt can make his way home, but no, he has one more challenge to face when he discovers that his boat has been damaged and his boat contains 2 feet of water. Through his remarkable ingenuity, he manages to repair the damage and is finally able to head for home and the woman he loves. However, when he arrives home, there is one last heroic act that Gilliatt must perform before the story can come to its surprising and sad ending. I highly recommend this masterfully told novel, and my rating is, of course, A. And now, here's a quick recap, and I'll be back soon with another BookTube video.